Okay, we might do some clothes for you.
And you know, we here just give our spill and our thoughts on Loaded Lux song, True Love. Which to me is just, you know, that just the title alone, True Love. You know, when you just coming from any artist's perspective, the first thing he sent me the link, and the first thing I'm thinking is, you know, it's a song for the ladies. Right. You know, that's the first thing I'm thinking. You know, but once you've seen the video, it's the real meaning of true love. You know what I'm saying? A father expressing his love for a child. You know, it just happened to be a son. You know, it could be, you know, but just a father expressing his love for his child. Period. That's just, it's something that's real.
Right. You have any children, brother?
I got 2 boys.
You got 2 boys?
So it hit home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering why didn't I put my video out first? You know?
Yeah, you thought of it first though, right?
I mean, yeah, we had a song I recorded a little while back. But yeah, it's about Loaded Lux, and the song's real powerful, man. You know, just especially coming from a battle rapper, right? You know, because they, you know, the whole thing and the whole myth, if you want to call it, is, you know, that battle rappers can't make songs, or they can't, you know, and then when they do make songs, they can't make songs with content,
right?
You know, so with him just touching all of that, and you know, it's like he's breaking down barriers, he's opening up doors for, you know, not only battle rappers, but artists, period. You know, to know that, you know, it's another side. You know what I'm saying? It's alright to express that side. It's alright to express that love, because at the end of the day, you know, these kids are gonna be the ones, you know, telling our stories.
Right.
You know, when we 10, 20 years later. So, you know, this is a powerful song, man. It meant a lot for me, and you know, I just wish the brother success, and for him to just keep making those music. Let him know, like, that type of music that's the music that's gonna be forever lasting.
Right.
You know, so it's peace to the brother.
Okay, fam. Alright, brother.
Peace. My name is Mr. Hawkins. I'm the founder of Beautiful Strength Productions LLC, and also one half of the Soul Brothers. I love the song. I heard the project. I purchased the project from Lux on 125th some time ago, and that was my favorite track on the project that first day. So for him to select that song, you meant that he really was trying to reach people on that level. You know, he wasn't trying to pick the club song or the joint he got with Fred the God, you know what I'm saying, which is a banger, but this one is a lot more potent, I think. This is something that people need to see, people need to hear. You know, just like Hots and the other brother said, you know, he's a battle rapper. You know, those brothers, they go to war, but for him to switch it and really come from the heart, you know, when you talk about your child, that's like a, you know, pardon, but it's like a tender place. You know what I'm saying? Like talking about your child. You know what I'm saying? You could actually feel that. For him to display that, put that out there, aside from, you know, whatever, you know, street cred or whoever saying, you know, that ain't hood enough. You know, that spoke to a higher consciousness, I think. And you know, I think he's being appreciated for that.
Right.
The comments on the videos on the YouTube.
Right. When you look at the video and you read the comments are kind of, you know, getting a lot of support from the people out there. I know when I read it, it was like over 500 comments on that one video on his page, and since then other people have downloaded the video onto their page, and they're getting comments.
Yeah, not a lot of people speak for the fathers in the community. They always say, you know, we're not doing a good job, or, you know, the baby mama trying to get some money out of us, but they don't see that we really, there's a lot of brothers out here scratching and clawing to see their children. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think, you know, it's beautiful you put that song out.
Okay, fam, thank you. Want to come back to the brother over here. Talk to me about how the media gives all the play to what they call the deadbeat dad, and like the brothers that's out there, like the brother was saying, scratching and clawing and doing the kid, they don't get any of the publicity or any, you know, any of the shine.
No, of course not, because it speaks to a bigger issue as to how they want to portray our imagery in the media. Right. You know, the reality of the situation is, man, there are a lot of men, a lot of young black men who are stepping up and taking responsibility for the children for whatever reason, where maybe their father wasn't there, you know what I mean, but they strive to do better.
Right.
You know, and I know it's difficult. It's difficult being a young parent when you don't have that guidance. You know, it's the scariest thing in the world for 5 minutes.
Right. You said you're a single dad, right?
Yeah. I'm a single father, man. I'm a single father. I raised 2 daughters.
Okay.
I raised 2 daughters and a younger brother, and you know, it's been an experience. And even, you know, what's interesting is being a single dad, the discrimination, you would say, you feel when I show up to parent teacher night and I'm the only father there,
right.
Or when I go to handle business, medical business, whatever the business needs to be done, and they're like, well, where's the mother?
Right.
You know, and unfortunately through circumstances, I'm here for them. You know, but there are a lot of single fathers out there who fight that battle every day, man. But that's not necessarily what they want to perpetuate,
right.
In terms of our imagery. You know, it does exist though. You know, I'm here to tell you that it's real. You know what I'm saying? It's very real.
Right. You wanted to piggyback on that, bro?
Oh, absolutely. I do believe that a lot of brothers such as myself, I have 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. My daughter's almost 5 years old, and my oldest son is 23 years old. So it's a small duration. There's 3 different women involved, but again, like the brother Mr. Hawkins said, that a lot of brothers are scratching and clawing. Never went to a court of law for my children, but I do believe that the duration of who you love is who you hold on to. If you care more than words, you can remove the idea of just being there for a second, or being there for an image, or being there for a minute. It doesn't matter the opinion of where you work or what you have to do to provide for your children. And any real man knows the blueprint that you set is the blueprint that your kids have.
Right.
So what you show them, the direction of doing the right thing or the wrong thing, remember, you can teach your kids the right thing. If they decide as they get older to do the wrong thing, you're still a good parent.
Right.
Don't ever think that, because a lot of times we tend to blame it on ourselves as if we're the reason why the child turns out to be who they are. A lot of times people become who they want to be. But you definitely set forth the right goals and the right image to make sure that at least you instill in them the things that they can remember, whether you leave here or not. And I do love the idea of Loaded Lux touching on this behalf, because I am a father, I'm a product of Harlem, and I stand for everything that brother believes in, and I salute him on this one.
Okay, brother, thank you. My brother, give me an idea what you think this song means to the hip-hop culture. What type of effect does you think this song is going to have on the hip-hop culture, you know, as it goes forward? Because I hear a lot of the comments on YouTube is that, you know, this song is already a classic, that it's a breath of fresh air. You know, what are your feelings in that regard?
If I can take a quote, that's what I would say, is a breath of fresh air. You know, and hopefully what we can do is raise awareness, you know, that there's just so many good fathers out here, man. I just came back, I just got back in town from Virginia, you know, going to see my son out there, and you know, traveling back and forth. One of my oldest is in Virginia, my youngest is in Atlanta. I'm in New York, you know, so I travel back and forth, and you know, this is just a whole bunch of stuff that, as fathers, we don't get a lot of light, you know, on a lot of stuff that we're doing. You know, it's a lot of ground we put in, man. It's a lot of attitudes. It's a lot of stuff it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stuff that we take. And you know, when I went to my son, you know, I'm old school with it. I went and, you know, I just popped up at school, like how my grandma used to do to me, you know. And his teacher was like, "Can you do that more often, just so I can see his face like that?" You know what I'm saying? And, you know, this is just so, you know, hopefully it can just raise awareness like that. That is, it was a point in time where, yeah, it was, you know, a lot of black. There was a lot of black brothers that wasn't on their job. You know what I'm saying? But we're not in that day and age now. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully this will raise awareness that at this day and age, you know, things is different, and there's a lot of brothers that's on their job as far as raising their kids, you know, as far as doing what they got to do to support their children, and you know, just being there, and wanting to be there. You know, we taking on roles. You know, you got brothers that's out here that's doing everything that a woman can do and more. You know what I'm saying? it's just this day and age that we in, you know, it's brothers that's I don't want to say that we more sensitive, but you know, we out here, we giving light, we giving especially us growing up in Harlem, in the Bronx. I'm saying that where we really lived in the streets and we did this, so we can go back and reflect, teach our kids, you know what I'm saying, from experience. And we can actually talk to them. It's not just like, you know, I heard about this story, you know what I'm saying. I can tell my son, like, I always tell my son, you know, don't try to be a gangster because, you know, the first gangster you want to run across is me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a real gangster, you know, so I can speak from experience and tell him, you know what I'm saying, like, what's right, what's wrong to do. And, you know, so by Lux out here putting out this song, that's from, you know, from a grown man, you know, going through hard times, trials and tribulations in New York City growing up, and he can just tell his son the real, right? You know, and he just, it's just potent music, man.
Right. Okay, thank you, bro. My brother, let me ask you a question.
Sir.
With the song, which one of the lyrics, if you could answer, like stood out to you? Like what part of the song?
I don't remember the actual quote, but it was something like, I'm trying to support my little mans, give him a little game, give him a little manners, something like that. Right. I think the manners, it jumped out of the song to me because a lot of times, you know, that's what keeps us from even opening the door. You know, we can get to the door, but to open the door, just little things like saying please, thank you, you know, opening the door for the lady, opening the door for the elders, you know, just being respectful, listening, manners.
What was that foundation?
That's a foundation that we don't really have, or we have it, but it's getting diluted over time with the Xboxes and the PlayStation 3s and the booty dancing and all that, which is fine in the strip club. Just not at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was telling my brother earlier. But you know, I think the manners was powerful. That's what we need to open doors at a bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? Manners, education, direction.
Right. You know, if you notice, when he was talking about the manners, he was going into the school. So there's the education subliminally dropped on. You know. My brother over here, I want to ask you the same question. Which one of the lyrics, you know, resonated with you?
I'll tell you which, and it's a pretty simplistic lyric. When he's saying I'm walking with my mans and holding the man by hand, talking about, you know, I love to see a black man walking with his son. You know, and that in itself, just the imagery of that relays so much. You know, that we don't get to see. You know, it's like, it's a hard world out here, and yes, you want to prepare your child to exist in it, but you don't want to prepare your child so much that you make him numb to being able to feel and being able to spread love and share love. You know what I mean? And that's what really hit me in it, because it's like, that's something you don't, black men themselves are not always taught how to love properly. You know what I mean? And being able to guide your son in that way, I thought it was really special. You know what I mean? To be touched on within the lyrics of the song.
Okay, all right. My brother, I want to ask you the same question.
My personal opinion on that, one and the same from the RoundTable, the bosses at this point. I totally agree with it, from the words of the lyrics of the record, along with the speech of my brothers. And, it's always said that the daughters grow up to be closest to the dad. And it's always said that the son grows up to be closer to the mom. Which quote unquote is very true, because that's the love that you give. A lot of times they're going to come out with you. But do believe that, especially as a black man, those who start from a child and believe in their child 10, 20, 100 times, whatever they want to do, those usually are the ones that are the most successful. Because when you have a background blueprint of who you want to be, and you have a strong support system, 9 times out of 10, you will become what you want. A lot of times, as a whole of a race, we tend to, at a certain age, you know, you get 16, 17, 18 years old, sometimes parents, quote unquote, man or woman, get tired or sick, or you're old enough now to do your own thing. So you gotta remember, you got 15 years of not really knowing what you wanna do. At this in particular point is now you kind of make a decision on at 16, 17 what you want to do, but you had all the time before then to create your craft. It's why sometimes we never master who and what we want to be because we wait so long in life to start. So that's my opinion on the lyrics of this record. He definitely touched on the duration of how and what you should do with your kid as a young child all the way up to raising them up today. And that's the existence because I am a product of Harlem. And I grew up to be some of the roughest times and stories of this day.
Right.
But do believe that it's always taken as if you're a gentleman and you show respect and the word manners came up, is that you some sort of sucker, or people can't believe in you, or you're a chump.
Right.
That's not true. You can be the most gentleman in the world.
Right.
But again, stand for what you believe in and not have any foolishness come behind that. So that's my opinion on behalf of the fathers.
Okay.
And I salute that again.
All right, brother. My brother, do you have a favorite lyric that resonated with you in the song?
I would have to say the Manners too, man. One of my things when he said little men, you know what I'm saying? He said, you hear me, little man? You know what I'm saying? It's not just he's directly talking to him. You know what I'm saying? You hear me? He wants him to also know. You know what I'm saying? He calls them big men. You know what I'm saying? He wants them to let them know that, and it's just powerful. Like when we raising our sons as men. Right. We always want to let them know that they are the men.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When I raise my kid, I want to let them know that you're the man. You want to be, they think of me as this figure, and I'm like, yo, think I'm dope? Wait till you grow. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be 10 times dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
killing that boy stereotype.
That boy stereotype, and you got to let them know from the gate that you the man in the house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even when I leave, when I'm not here, you the man in your house. You know what I'm saying? When I ask my son, you taking care of your mom? You know what I'm saying? So we always have to instill that in them, that they are the men, so they can, have that in their mindset growing up and let them know it. And like about the manners thing, with so many just so many people, like, just in Harlem, they say this thing, just black, that's not even just in Harlem. But you know how they say, we always run around with our pants hanging down. And, so we have to teach them, like, from the gate, you know what I'm saying, about these manners, about, like, just, how to carry yourself and, how to walk around, how to dress.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, hygiene, down to everything. You know what I'm saying, we have to just teach them that, just a certain way, order, how to carry yourself, and when he said little man and big man, that's the whole thing, man. I was like one of my favorite things, just him letting his son know that he is, he's still the man right now.
Right. Let me ask you a question, brother.
Right.
You think a woman could raise a male child to be a man?
She can, but it'd be very, very difficult.
Right.
Because only a man can raise a man.
Okay.
I had a friend who had a little cousin, right? The little cousin was a boy, father wasn't in his life. The little boy grew up around his aunties. Until the little boy was maybe 2 or so, he peed sitting down because he was around all the women. You know what I'm saying? Women are the queens, they're respected, we love our black women, you know what I'm saying? But it took for his uncle to come and show him how to pee like a man.
Right.
When women raise a man, and this is actually some of the problems what's wrong in our community today, is because in the 90s, in the early 90s, they locked up all the men, left all these women to raise the men, these young boys, turned them into men, and a lot of them picked up womanly traits over being overly emotional, irrational at times. Sometimes men act like they on their period. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. These are things that, and I also know some real gangster brothers, tough brothers who handle their business, who were raised by their mom.
Right.
But like I said, it was very difficult for her, and she had to be really strong. So if it's a woman who's in any bit, she can't raise that bar, meet that standard, it's a higher chance that that young boy
won't rise above. You know what I'm saying? That's the sadness. And that's why we're here today, and we're in this place today because women have been taken over. They took over the reins as the father in a lot of situations. Not always because the father he just ran off because he a hoe, but because he's either locked up for something that he had to do to survive, or he just didn't know any better. Because if you knew better, you do better. Right. You know what I'm saying? But if you only know selling this is going to pay your bills, and everybody else been doing it for the last 3 generations on your block,
you think those are your only options?
That's what you think is your only options.
Right.
Real quick, I'm gonna just touch on. I think my brother said this earlier, but it's really important to have that father figure. See, I grew up in the household with my mother and my father. You know what I'm saying? And when I walk down the street, even to this day, I feel like I think like my pops. There's certain things when I meet people, it's certain gestures that I have that are just like my pops. It's different information that I reference comes straight from my pops. I might have told you something that came from my pops when I was 9. You know what I'm saying? Now take my pops out of the equation. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't grow up with my pops, that information that was put into me that I'm relaying to you wouldn't have come from my pops. It would have came from the street. It would have came from somebody who didn't do that well in life. You know what I'm saying? It would have came from somebody who didn't really know what they was talking about. Right. You know what I'm saying? It could have came from somebody who was just hating on me, wanting me to see me fail, or they miserable, so they'll just say anything. So now instead of saying, my father's giving me this echo in my head saying, son, handle it this way. Or, that's what I have now. Or it could be an echo in my head from somebody that was on the block, who failed, or is trying and it's not working, and now I'm applying his strategy to life with my strategy for life. Right. And it's fucking it up.
Yeah. If you don't get your kids, the streets will get your kids.
They will.
Okay, we're gonna wind this down. Brother, you got any closing remarks you might want to put in?
I definitely want to touch on the fact that, man, I gotta give it up to Lux, because as a musician, you gotta let the music speak through you. And the fact that he's talking to different topics, in hip hop you don't get that. They tell you, if it's hip hop, it can only be this, that, and the other. And that's never been our thing. It's supposed to constantly evolve. Right. And for him to push the envelope musically and touch on a topic like this that needs to be spoken to. People say, oh, well, hip hop doesn't talk about nothing but A, B, C, and D. But when you hear artists talk about something outside of that, it's up to people to respect and support that artist that does that. So I hope he gets all the support he needs for this project, because it's a great topic.
All right. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
How about you, buddy? You want to put in last closing remarks on this?
I put this to the world, man. I represent where I'm from and what I believe in. Harlem is my home, and it will be for a long time. They tried their best to push us out, and we got all these new dynamics, the direction that is coming. The blueprint is already set, ladies and gentlemen, so definitely be prepared for Harlem to be a change. But if you're strong enough and you have wisdom and wise, you will be a product of this movement. And I do know that Loaded Lux, outside I have a brother named Fresh Air, and I thought that he was one of the best phenomenal MCs I ever been part of. My brother, I tell you, to YouTube, to the world, you got it going on, brother. Don't stop what you're doing. Bar for bar, incredible, way past music, and you keep this positive note up no matter what they say, no matter what they think. And that's my word. You will be successful. Success is not about being worldwide and everybody knows. Success is within your heart, and those who are around you, they salute what you do, you're successful.
Thank you, brother. My brother.
Yeah, all I have to say is just, I hope that this video touches some brothers' lives. I hope that some brothers, when they see this video, it makes them want to go call their kids. You know what I'm saying? Tell them they love them. I hope that Lux continues to make this type of music, because, it's a lot of people that don't know about battle rap. You know what I'm saying? That don't know about, just where you come from. Somebody might not know you, but this is the type of music that's global. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of music that we can sit down and have a conversation about. You know, this is that type of music that's, you know, it could introduce you to the world, to different people. You know, it's just that type of music that's like, I just wish that more brothers like this, you know, I want, you know, and that's just all artists, you know what I'm saying, that they get something from this, they know that, you know, because it's probably a lot of artists out here, young rappers, that's looking up to Loaded Lux. You know what I'm saying? So this is powerful coming for them seeing that.
It's a platform.
You know what I'm saying? It's a platform letting them know, because, you know, these kids that's coming up nowadays, you know, like it's not a lot of people that want to be unique and want to be their own self. And so it's a lot of cats that's coming up that they want to battle because they, you know, if you 19 and under, that's what you might see. It's a lot of cats that came, you know, we're a little older in this room, but it's a lot of cats that came up on Murder Mooks and Loaded Lux. You know what I'm saying? Since they started listening to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So this is excellent to hear that, you know, that one of their idols, one of their favorite rappers can go touch on that side, so they can say, you know, when I'm penning these battle raps, you know, it's alright to make this song that I really feel from the heart. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this song right here, it's I just commend it, you know, and I just hope people get the message, and good music like that just keep carrying on.
All right, thank you, my brother.
Love.
All right, brother, you take us out.
Final thoughts.
Got 2 minutes.
2 minutes for the battery guy. Basically, you know, Lux called me up a couple of days ago. He said he wanted to gather some minds and discuss this. You know, and to me, I felt like that was a call to action, and to see who would answer that call. The fact is, a group of brothers came here on a Sunday night at 10 p.m. on a rainy night in Harlem to talk about family. You know, us being here and doing that at 10 p.m. on a Sunday, that in itself is revolutionary. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, that's what we need more of, and I think now that we see who, you know, everybody at the table and all these brothers, even online, who responded, these people are looking for that call. I think it's time for us to kind of galvanize, as my brother Pastor Torrey likes to say, time to get brothers ready, you know, and, you know, I think it's time for us to build these bonds, because there's no doubt that we will have to answer this call again.
Right.
And hopefully we can do it on a greater scale, more serious, more productive, and, you know, lead with some solutions, some action plans, and even more soldiers, you know, men and women,
right,
and kids, you know, as long as it's for the righteousness. And I'm glad he put out songs like that. Breath of fresh air. I wish it wasn't so many people holding their breath, you know what I'm saying, but it takes one ear at a time. And, you know, he got our ear, and, you know, and our respect, or what be.
Okay, brother. Thank you very much.
One love.
Peace.